What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the 615. It's your host, Lee Hillis, and today we are talking Titans, Jags, and it is the 2 year anniversary of the show. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the last 2 years towards the back end of the show. And of course, you see our guest is Chris from Titans in Truth, and Tyler from Titans Sound Podcast may jump in here later on in the show, but we'll be back right after this. And if you're listening to the audio version, it's right after this and a word from our sponsor.
Tennessee Titans season's over. Let's call it what it is. Running the ball now.
Tucker by low and loses the ball. It's Titans ball. And to Hilliard, he's got room. 30, 20, 10, 5, end zone.
Go win a Super Bowl for this entire season.
Take a deep breath. Okay, have some fun. Be poised in mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Every one of you is going to make a mistake. Go figure out a way to make it right.
Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. And of course, let's go ahead and bring our guest in, Chris from Titans in Truth. Chris, how are you?
Evening.
Well, what a day it was yesterday for Titans Nation to get the breaking news, which that's going to lead us right into our first thing, NFL news, which the story is Titans fire general manager John Robinson. And Chris, were you shocked when you heard this news come out?
Wasn't expecting it. I remember it was about 11 o'clock Tuesday morning. I was knocked out of sleep. So I wake up and check my phone, and one of my followers hit me up and said, "Have you seen this?" And it had a picture of John Robinson and Tires fired him. I'm thinking, okay, this is fake news. This is not real. Let me go look this up and let's see. And sure as shooting, Bleacher Report and the reports were out that they did fire him. And I was like, whoa, are you kidding me? Like, I didn't expect it to happen now. The timing is weird. But I will say, even though I think it's a move that I could see, especially after getting torched by a guy you traded. but I was shocked at that happening. I can't lie.
And of course, you see the Twitter there from Jim Wyatt. The Titans have parted ways with general manager John Robinson. Vice President of Player Personnel Ryan Cowden will lead player personnel for the Titans for the remainder of the season.
I don't know how much he's going to be able to get done with 5 games left, but I guess shoring the back end of the roster and see if you have something that can compete in the playoffs. Because I mean, we're gonna win the division, but I guess this is to see what you can put on the back end that could be helpful for this team going forward. So it's very interesting of the timing. I know they were probably trying to get a jump on getting to college recruits and things like that with bowl season, but very interesting and very shocking timing, I would say.
Which I put out on Twitter. Everybody to come in here because hot takes are coming down tonight. I've already said this. And Chris, I told you this. I said, I see the Titans reaching outside of this team to hire their next GM. And I said, I could see the Chiefs assistant GM, Mike Borgonzai, being the Titans' new GM. And I could see him sitting down and firing Mike Vrabel and hiring the first African-American head coach in Titans history, Eric Bieniemy.
And I would be all for that. I mean, let me state this for the record first. I think Mike Vrabel's a good coach. He's done a heck of a job winning seasons ever since he's been here. But I think he's acting, but let me get my words together. And I've said this many times, Lee, I've said this. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Mike Vrabel is acting a lot like what Mike Mularkey did back in the day with Terry Robisky. He just would not let Terry Robisky go. Even though the offense was bad, he refused to let him go. He died on the hill for his guys. And John Robinson said, look, you got to let this guy go. And he said no, so that's why Mike Mularkey got fired. Doesn't it seem like Mike Vrabel is doing the exact same thing? Exactly. He just won't let Todd Downing go when he know he should. Let him go. Let Tim Kelly get a shot at it. Let's see what it looks like these last few weeks. And if a new GM comes in, he sits down with Vrabel and says, hey, I'm willing to keep you on as head coach. I'm willing to work with you. But Todd Downing's got to go. And if Vrabel says anything else but yes, sir, he has to go too.
And I was telling somebody this, if I don't see Vrabel being here next year, because when you bring in a new GM, that GM wants to come in and hire his own guy. Exactly. He has no loyalty to you. He has nothing to you.
Yeah. No matter if Amy sets the president with this GM and says, hey, you're the general manager. I'm going to let you do your job. And I even said it, and you know this. I said a couple of things are going to change. And I'm going to go ahead and throw a couple of nuggets out. The offense is going to get a major makeover. Big Jeff, I think, is guaranteed to stay now because John Robinson traded away A.J. Brown. And on my show I just did, one of the people watching said was on his way to losing Big Jeff too. And I think that was true. Because you don't tell Big Jeff, I don't know how we're going to pay you. I don't know where the money's coming from. This new GM, he's going to make sure Big Jeff gets paid.
And I'm going to point this out. There are 6 guys who could be gone after this season. Bud Dupree, Zach Cunningham, maybe Caleb Farley,
I hope not. I hope he gets another shot, but Vrabel
Robert
obviously
Woods.
hates him.
Robert Woods,
Yep.
Ryan Tannehill,
That might be, I don't know
Taylor
if that's
Lewan,
guaranteed, but it wouldn't shock me.
Taylor Lewan
Those are 4 I know for a fact.
that are gone. So if they release five or six guys, they free up in the ballpark of $45 to $60 million.
46 to 64 million to be exact.
And there's enough right there to pay Big Jeff.
And there's an expanded cap too.
And you also have enough to possibly give a new contract to David Long.
Maybe Nate Davis.
Maybe try to keep Ben Jones for another year.
If you can't find a younger center, I would go back to him.
I wish we would have drafted Tyler Linderbaum.
Tyler Linderbaum or Creed Humphrey before that. One of those two.
So,
and
let's head to the comment.
Yeah, because I got one more point. And that is, I don't think Vrabel is as safe as he thinks he is.
Your guy AZ Mick is in the house.
My guy.
Al Pierce. Titan Fox. That's an interesting point. How shocked would you be if Amy already had it planned and announces a new GM by next week?
That will only be if it's internal, because I don't think she would announce too fast, because you get at least in this situation, you gotta at least go through an interview process. And a lot of executives around the league are not available right now. You can't do that until once the season is over. And
then
for a team like the Chiefs, if they get the first round bye, during that bye week,
you can
talk to them.
And Tyne Fox made another interesting point. Downing should be the next one on the chopping block.
He should have been on the chopping block after last year.
The reason, of course, as Vrabel said, you don't do dumb crap to hurt this team. Todd Downing has. Because look at this. So he got the DUI after Green Bay.
Yep.
What's happened since? We've lost 2 in a row.
Yeah. I mean, he calls a great game and then
gets a DUI.
The real Todd Downing, please stand up. And he did.
And Al Pierce said, I thought Tim Kelly was his guy. You would think he would go with him and Can Downing. Confusing, isn't it?
Again, he's willing to go down with his guys. Again, Dennis Daly. He won't change from that. And he acts like, well,
what
other option do we have?
And of course, I know you watched the show the other night with the Power Hour. I quoted you on one thing. Mike Vrabel says, well, we're winning.
Of course, that's what he's going to fall back to.
And I agree. And that's one reason I feel like J-Rob was fired. Not taking care of the Todd Downing situation.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, internally, Todd Downing should have been suspended internally.
Yeah.
By the team.
At least a couple of games.
And of course, Tyne Fox said, O-line, please, overall.
I agree.
And you and I were talking. I could see Aaron Brewer being replaced.
Maybe Dylan Radins finally gets some respect to get a shot. I mean, he played okay as a left guard.
I would start him at left tackle.
See, why does the media not see that? A lot of people in the media think we're crazy to even bring it up.
Go back to San Francisco game last year.
Here's my thing about that. I don't mean to cut you off. I don't get what the media is seeing is different from what we're seeing, because it's perfectly obvious that the media and us, we're seeing two different games, because you've heard Buck, Jared, even Miss Teresa tweeted me and said, Raiders is not good. And I'm thinking to myself, what game were y'all watching?
And of course, I was gonna say, if you go back and look at San Francisco, he manhandled Nick Bosa.
Yeah, he held his own.
And so, of course, I don't know if you knew this. Elijah Molden is back on IR.
Yeah, I'll miss another 4 games.
And I was just curious about something. So I shot Miss Teresa an email and asked. I just read Elijah Molden just went back on IR. Could you clarify, does this mean he is done for the year, or could he come back this year? And she said teams can designate a player to return twice in a season.
Yeah, that's a new rule.
So
I looked that up too.
So he could potentially come back
in week 18
to the final game of the year at Jacksonville.
Yeah. And like I said, that was the first thing I thought of too, was I'm thinking, hold up. If Molden goes on injured reserve, that means he's out for the year, right? Because that's his second time. But it says a new rule in 2022 that, a second stint won't end the season, but he ain't going to come back to the late.
And of course, Titan Pratt.
Bryce, what's up?
And then, of course, Titan Fox says possibly re-sign some players. Where are those replacements coming from after those cuts? Well, of course, I put out my first mock draft last night. Chris, you've seen it. If we release Lawan, and I told you this, there's one kid out of Georgia, and yes, he's like, I don't like offensive linemen out of Georgia, but you know what TD says. Don't blacklist a school over one player.
I know that's what TD said. He's preached it to me.
However,
I kind of blacklisted a little bit. Can't do it.
The kid that I would take in the first round is Broderick Jones, an offensive tackle out of Georgia. Dude's a baller.
I think the position is correct in the first round. Again, I don't trust any player from Georgia. I'm sorry. I can't trust an offensive lineman from Georgia. Isaiah Wilson, he has left that black cloud in my mind. I will not go back to that well.
I would, of course, another guy that could be cut, Jeff Swain.
Oh, for the love of God, please. For the love of God, please do it.
And that's where my second round pick came in at. Darnell Washington, a 6'7" tight end out of Georgia.
I wouldn't be against that. I've seen him play.
Oh, and Titan Fox mentioned one thing about the media. They've been saying that since last year, ratings is not even good. Even if not great, he's better than Daly.
And because I mentioned this on Primetime with Buck Rising after the game, I put that comment in, and Buck basically kind of went in on me, about that. And he said, of the rankings, is Daly, Clark, Radens. Like, Radens is the worst of the three in his opinion.
And of course,
I'm thinking
Vrabel has reopened the competition at left tackle.
Yeah, but he hasn't mentioned Radens. He said LaRaven Clark might get a shot.
And I like the signing, but where he's been sitting since he's been here.
Yep.
I would prefer Radens over anybody.
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
And so let's go ahead and head to the second news story. Baker Mayfield is an LA Ram.
Can't believe it.
And I told you this before the show. If he would went anywhere, in my mind, it was San Francisco.
They
Jimmy
do
G
need a
is down.
quarterback.
Jimmy G is down.
And they obviously don't believe in Trey Lance.
And well, he's injured too.
Well, that too, yep.
Their starting quarterback now is Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy.
He gets a chance.
And then, of course, you have Josh Johnson. Who's been around the league forever.
Yeah, forever.
Buck thinks Radens was awful in that San Francisco game. In the San Francisco game, he's biased.
I mean, a lot of media people thought that, and that's something that I think I'm gonna either tweet. I'm going to probably try to text back with Miss Teresa again or TD because I need some help. Clarify for me. What are y'all seeing that we're not? Because, again, like you said, I went back and watched quite a bit of that 49ers game. I didn't think Dylan did too bad. Did he have a couple of bad snaps? Yes, he did. He had a couple of snaps that were bad.
But did he give up a sack? No.
Exactly.
And speaking of sacks, Dennis, as you said, Dudley has 9 sacks on the year.
9.
His pro football focus grade was 41.
Yep.
This last weekend.
And think about this. The Tennessee Titans as a whole have allowed 33 sacks. Daly has allowed 9 of those. You know, that is nearly close to 1/3 of the sacks given up. A third by him alone.
Yep.
I want to say the next might be 5. And I want to say that might have been Brewer or NPF. I can't remember.
Titan Fox says Baker may play to the Rams. OMG, I work too much and missed that news.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sacks have to come down.
I agree. I mean, Petit Ferrer on the other side has given up 3 times less. Only 3.
He's only he's only given up like 3. Like he gave up 1 this last weekend.
Yep.
But of course,
I mean,
actually, he said, let me change that.
We have no other alternative.
He said, let me change that to Baker maybe on the field. LOL.
I'm looking at some stats.
But while you're doing that, I am going to run this. And of course, I showed it to you. This is something that I needed to hear. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but here you go.
And if I can leave you with anything, I want to leave you with this. Hear me clearly when I say this. There are people who come in your life sometimes to be there for a season. They weren't meant to be there always. Sometimes we find ourselves hooked up with people that we think are there for a lifetime, but they were only supposed to be there for a season. There are people who come in your life like boosters for a rocket. If you ever watch a rocket go into space, the boosters fall off when it reaches a certain altitude. Some people are not equipped to handle the altitudes that you're going to. So don't be afraid when they fall off. They're not bad people. They just couldn't go where you're going.
Wow.
And Chris, you took the word from my mouth. I came across, I'm like, I need to play this.
It's powerful.
Especially coming from the mouth of Tyler Perry.
Yeah, man.
But so you were calculating up the sack numbers.
Yeah, I was looking at each of the linemen, and again, Dennis Daly has given up, according to Pro Football Focus, 9 sacks. No one else has given up more than 3 on the offensive line. Now
Wow.
I'm talking MPF 3. Nate Davis, I want to say was 2. I'm gonna go and make sure of that. Ben Jones 1. Aaron Brewer was 2. Yeah. Nate Davis 2. Petit Ferrer 3. Ben Jones. Again, this is all according to Pro Football Focus. Ben Jones 1.
What about Dylan Radins?
I'm getting to that. Aaron Brewer 3. Dylan Radins in the few snaps that he had, and this is probably counting him at guard as well. None.
And I'm going to say this. Media, take note of that number. Dylan Radins in his snaps at guard, and is that counting tackle or no?
Let's see. I think this is mainly guard. I don't know if it counts tackle because of course, I don't have PFF like that. So it's kind of locked.
So at guard alone, he's given up 0 sacks.
And I'll go even further. Add in when he played last year against the 49ers. In all, in any snaps that he's played in 2021, combined to 2022, 2 sacks.
2 sacks.
In 2 years. Now, he hadn't played a bunch of snaps, and that is out of, he had 100, it says 124 snaps played, offensive snaps last year, and he's played 265 snaps this year, which I'm like, is that number correct? So, almost 400 snaps in 2 years, 2 sacks.
Okay.
In 2 years.
What was that number for 2021?
124 snaps, 2 sacks.
And how many total snaps is 124?
124 for 2021.
What is this year?
265 for 2022.
389 snaps.
Mm-hmm.
And he's given up 2 sacks.
And Dennis Daly has played more than double those snaps, and has given up
9.
More than 4 times that amount.
So, media, take note. Dylan Radins is better than Dennis Daly.
Thank you. Now, the PFF score might not say that, because, I mean, PFF, I usually don't put a lot of stock into that. But I was looking mainly at the sack number given up, and it is astounding. It is very astounding how many sacks he has not given up, and how many that Daly has. I'm like, it's pretty obvious.
But let's go ahead and head into what this show is about. Titans, Jags, and the analytics for Tennessee last week were sketchy. Especially one Derek Lamar Henry.
Wow, with full name.
11 carries, 30 yards. That's scary.
Yeah, he's had a bad month.
But look at Tannehill. 14 of 22, 141 and 1 touchdown. But he also had 3 carries for 34 yards. Tannehill hasn't had a bad month.
Yeah, he hasn't thrown a lot of interceptions. That's good.
He's thrown, I think, what, 4 or 5 all year?
I would say 3.
But look at Chig. 4 catches, 68 yards.
Get him the ball.
Tyne Fox said PFF is judging him on playing the wrong position, not the one he should be playing. He should be playing left tackle. He should be playing tackle. But of course, Traylon Burks hated to see that hit. That hit was nasty.
Illegal.
But 1 catch, 25 yards, and a touchdown. And let's go ahead and bring the second guest in here. Tyler, how are you?
I'm good, man. Sorry I'm late here. Hope y'all are doing well. So, again, sorry about being late, man, but been trying to get back and get everything set up so I could hop on here at least for a little bit with y'all.
But yeah, we're going to run it back. Well, you start off talking about John Robinson being fired. What were your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts on it when I first saw the news was I didn't expect this to happen during the middle of the season. But after diving into it a little bit more and hearing some thoughts about how, especially since next month, really for the college prospects and everything coming into the draft, I mean, it makes more sense that the move happens now. And I thank John Robinson for what he's done in helping turn this team around from where it was before he got here. But the last couple of years, there's just been too many misses in the draft and misses in free agency. Like, we're trying to get to that next step. Just winning the division and being one and done in the playoffs isn't going to cut it. We have to have some type of change to potentially get us to that next level.
And of course, Kerry said, I hope we see them use Chig more moving forward. I 100% agree.
Yes.
For sure.
And of course, Traylon Burks caught his first receiving NFL touchdown.
If he didn't get hurt, it would have been nice to see what happened.
And then, so let's head to the defense side. Kevin Byard. Of course, the duo, the best safety duo in the league. Both, they combined for 8 total tackles and 5 assisted. That's not a bad number.
Yeah, defense didn't have a great day.
No. Mario Edwards, 3 tackles and a sack. Bud Dupree, 2 tackles and a sack.
That was a shot.
Yeah.
But I feel a little bit better after knowing how Jacksonville got destroyed by Detroit. 40-14 this last week. Trevor Lawrence had a worse day than Ryan Tannehill. 17 of 31, 179 and a touchdown. Don't forget, that man's mobile.
It may not be right now, though.
And right now, he's day-to-day with a leg injury, although Trevor wants to play.
Mm-hmm.
And then Travis Etienne, his teammate from Clemson, 13 carries, 54 yards. But we know one thing about a certain guy by the name of Derrick Henry who feasts on Jacksonville.
And this will be a good game to go off because I'm pretty sure he's a bit ticked off.
And of course, Christian Kirk, 6 catches, 104. He ate us for breakfast last year when he was in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the guy that messed us up and probably one of the reasons we don't have AJ.
And then, of course, Evan Ingram, the former New York Giant, 5 catches, 30 yards, and a touchdown.
Would have been a nice tight end.
And then, of course, at least we have Austin Hooper. That's all that matters.
Hooper and Chig, I like that.
Yeah. I mean, hey, as long as Hooper and Chig's playing time keeps going up and Swaim's keeps going down, that's all I care about. Keep Swaim off the field, put Chig out there, especially if Burks ends up missing this game with the concussion. Like, Chig is our next weapon. I mean, I know you had the stats up from the game against the Eagles. Chig led all of our receivers with 68 yards. Out of the rest, Burks went out on after their first offensive drive, after their only touchdown. He was still our second leading receiver on the game with 25 yards. Like, that's mind-blowing to me that no one else could do anything besides Chig. So if Burks is out, that means Chig, you got to get his snaps up, even if it's putting him in at as a slot wide receiver and spreading him out wide. Just get the ball in the dude's hands.
That would be a huge mismatch, lining him up in the slot.
Yeah.
And that's what we need against Jacksonville. We need those mismatches. And then, of course, Al Pierce says, "What's up, Tyler?"
How's it going, Al?
But back over to the defensive side. Jacksonville's no fluke.
They got 2 monster pass rushers.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is Josh Allen. No, not that Josh Allen.
The other.
And then, of course, they have the rookie Trayvon Walker and the other rookie Devin Lloyd.
Yeah.
I wish we'd got our hands on Devin Lloyd.
I said that within a year or two, Jacksonville is going to be a major problem.
Well, I'm going to say this. Now that, in my mind, Indianapolis is a dumpster fire.
They're dead.
That whole team looks worse than our offensive line.
Oh.
And then, but everybody, even like you see the article right there from Titan Wire, written by none other than Tyler Rowland from Locked on Titans on the Locked on Titans podcast. He's saying this is a must win, and we're gonna start with Tyler on this. Is this game a must win?
100%. I mean, this is your get right game, because this is the game right after where Amy Adams Strunk come out and said, "Look, I'm not messing around. I want to get to that next level. I'm getting rid of the general manager. We need to get back going the right direction here." And the last 2 weeks, I said this on, I can't remember if I said this on the show last night that I had with Rossi on, or if it was just in talking to some other people like at work. We haven't seen Titans football the last 2 weeks because, and when I say that, I mean, we've gotten dominated in the trenches, both on our offensive line, which that's happened pretty much all year long, but even our defensive line getting dominated. And most of the time, that's where we really get to teams. What's up, Fox? Hope you're doing well. And, you know, it's one of those things where this is the game where you get back on track and you get back to playing your style of football. You dominate the trenches. You make Jacksonville know that you're there and you're hitting them. Like it. And, I mean, if you don't win this game, do you kind of breathe a little bit of life into them? Because, you know, I think they have 4 wins on the season. Right now we have 7. It's not like they're that far behind right now. really. So you can't be giving them any spark. And again, this is your get back on track for the rest of the season and get back to playing your style of football. So I do feel like it's a must win, because if you're not careful, the spiral's just going to continue, and then you're going to be clawing, trying to
Make the playoffs.
make the playoffs, win the South, whatever.
Yeah, I agree 100%. This is a must-win game. And it's a lot closer to what you said. You've already made a big shakeup. Amy Adams Strunk has basically said just winning the South and hosting a playoff game ain't good enough anymore. And I agree 100%. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. And that's what she wants. And anything less is a failure. So this is the get right game. And I said it on my show earlier tonight. 4 ways to win. My 4 points to victory. Wake up and get back to center. Get back to who you are. Return of the king. Derek needs to get back to being himself and run rush shot over the Jags like he's always done. The defense, they need to get back to basics, play angry. And why can I not remember my last point? But my last point is basically, get back to being who you are. And, get after Trevor Lawrence if he's in there. Play together, dominate, and just get Nashville nasty. And this is the game that you could do that. Because if you lose this game, like you said, that it's a snowball effect. John Robinson getting fired is just the first of a few dominoes that are about to fall. And you don't want to give Jacksonville any life or Indy. And if you don't make the playoffs, that makes Mike Vrabel look really bad. And not a lot of people have touched on that. A lot of this blame should be going towards Vrabel as well, because you got to get the players ready. So they better get right. And like you said, Tyler, win in the trenches. Offensive line needs to get their act together, but the defensive line needs to get their act together too, because they've been slacking off the last 2 weeks. And it is showing. Mm-hmm. So, must win indeed.
Hey, Chris, I got something for you.
I would take the job. Knowing me, though, and you've heard me say this, I would sure have us in a worse salary cap situation than anything, because I'll be going after everybody.
Well,
you get a big payday. You get a big payday.
Hey, I would be like this. Hold up. You know what, Teddy Hill? Get out of here. Lamar, you want to come here? Come on, I got you. Jerry Judy, you want to come on and play for the Titans? Let's make this trade happen. Big Jeff, you get paid.
Yeah.
Like Oprah. Like Oprah. You get a payday. You get a payday.
Everybody gets a payday.
But
you wouldn't want me for GM.
Well, I was going to say, if I had the opportunity to go be the Titans GM, I would say, I would say exactly what you said, Chris. Winning division championships, winning division titles is not enough.
That's the bare minimum.
Yep.
It's Super Bowl or nothing.
And I know Sin City Titan on my show has been arguing with me the whole time. And I told him, I said, okay, are you just okay with winning division titles, hosting a playoff game, and going one and done? If you say anything
other than no, if you say anything other than yes, you're proving my point.
You shouldn't be happy. You shouldn't be satisfied.
And as GM, what I would do straight up, if Amy said, do what you have to, I'd give that whole coaching staff their pink slips.
I wouldn't disagree with that. Maybe except for Shane Bowen and Jim Swartz, because they did do a good job. I'd hold on to them.
I would keep them.
Maybe Tim Kelly. Maybe he can learn.
But what I would do, the head coaching move is what I would do. Eric Bieniemy.
Yep.
Because you see what he did with Mahomes when he came in the league.
Yeah. And he's long overdue for a shot at the head coach.
Oh, he is. Like, he's gotten interview after interview after interview, but nothing.
But for some reason, and that's a good question. And I'm like, you've had some interviews. Why are you not getting hired? What's going on?
Is he going there? And is he going into those interviews and making himself not attractive as a head coaching prospect?
That's a good question. It's an excellent question.
But I asked Chris this. I'm going to Tyler on this. Baker Mayfield's an LA Ram. What did that shock you at all?
Not really. Just given how everything's been piling up for them as well, I figured it would be them or the 49ers. And since CMC, got traded to the 49ers, he had been with the Panthers. Not sure what CMC's outlook was on Baker, but if that was a guy they were potentially looking at, if CMC wasn't big on him, he was probably saying, "Look, guys, that's not the move for us. Just let someone else grab him." And yeah, the Rams picking him up didn't surprise me that much because we seen it with them. They went all in. They pushed all the chips on the table, went and won their Super Bowl, and now for the rest of the season they're scrambling this year, whether it be because of injuries or whatever. I mean, so yeah, I figured whenever Baker got released, it would be either the Rams or the 49ers, given where their quarterback situation had gotten to.
So as we head in the back end of this, let's run through some score predictions for Titans Jags. And we're going to start with Chris on this.
27-10 Titans.
Tyler?
I'm going to go 21-14 Titans.
I'm going to blow both y'all's out. 38-17.
Are you thinking they're capable of scoring that many points?
If the defense can do what they do and Derek can get going, all hands are off the table.
Is Downing drinking before this game?
Right.
I mean, I that is the key point. If he is, then yes, they're scoring that much. But
I agree. Let him drink before the game. Hey, we'll all buy him a couple shots of bourbon or something.
I feel like the biggest problem with Todd Downing is once they get through their scripted plays, he turns into a deer in the headlights.
Yeah. He won't get out of his own way.
And that's why after they get to the scripted plays, I would let Tannehill call it on the run.
I wouldn't be against that. I mean, just
either would I.
Or have, just tell Downing, I mean, hey, consult with Tim Kelly on, some more of the, if you think you got something, or like you said, let Tannehill call it on the fly. And I mean, because there's in
like a 2-minute type offense.
Yeah. Because that's the biggest thing that I've kind of seen over the last 2 weeks is, you start letting Tannehill get in that hurry up offense where they're just going, things are flowing a little bit smoother, it seems like. And
well, we're fixing to lose Chris. Chris, again, thank you for taking time out of your evening to come do this.
Absolutely. I hate to have to break away early, but I gotta go get some food and I gotta probably get ready for tomorrow. Gotta get up before dawn. So, I definitely appreciate everybody. Tyler, appreciate you as always.
And of course, Chris, before you go, shout out your the socials.
Oh, absolutely. Titans and Truth. You know where to find me on Facebook. On Facebook, TNT Enforcers. On Instagram at Titans_N_Truth. On Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer, and that is BLUEN4CER. And then on YouTube, Titans and Truth. Just did an episode about an hour ago previewing the Jags. And so definitely check that out. And also the show I did with Ken Moore yesterday, right after the firing of John Robinson. So yeah, definitely check that out. Hate to have to cut away early, but gotta go and get ready for tomorrow. But I thank y'all for putting up with me.
Well, and of course, we're going to get out of here. Also, Tyler and Chris, thank you both. Thank you to both of y'all for taking. Of course, thank y'all for taking time out of y'all's evening to come do this.
Yeah, again, hate that I was later to the show than was what I was expecting, but wanted to make sure that I hopped on for what I could and maybe try to add to the conversation a little bit.
And of course, a stat comes here: Jags defense is ranked 26th.
I mean, again, like I said, if there's a get right game, this is it. I understand it's going to fall into the narrative of, okay, the Titans beat another team that's under 500. I don't care. You give me a couple of teams right now under 500 and just let us hit, like Chris said, let us hit that reset. That's what we need. We need that reset to get back right.
And I think firing John Robinson is that reset.
Well, here's the way that I kind of look at it, and I really just thought about this earlier. You look back at the Bills game in week 2. The Titans got blown out in that game.
And
the players go ahead.
Of course, good news, just in case, like if let's say we meet up with the Bills again.
Mm-hmm.
They're without Von Miller for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's big on their defensive front. But after the Bills loss, the players come together, had a players-only meeting, and we saw after that game the season start to change a little bit. We saw a kind of new spark with the team that we hadn't seen. And now I have this loss to the Eagles that they dominated the whole game. This John Robinson firing could be another spark for the rest of the season, to get them on that right track again.
Well, as I said, Tyler, of course, thank you for taking time and hopping in here for the little bit of time you could.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for the invite.
And of course, as I always say, stay classy and tighten up.